This is Laura from Feeling Fabulous, and today I'm here to show you how to cook quick quesadillas. This is all plant-based, no oil, no butter, no milk, no cow's milk specifically. Very healthy and a great alternative for the other types of quesadillas that people are eating out in restaurants and cooking at home. So the ingredients include yellow pepper, onion, salsa. You can do fired corn. I just do regular corn. Kale. I do yellow corn quesadillas, gluten-free for people that are sensitive to gluten. I use chipotle, spice, cumin, salt, pepper, and garlic. I love your garlic. Helps your blood pressure. Actually, there's hummus involved in this. So for people who love hummus, that would be the best thing for them because they can actually incorporate it into a quesadilla. And the hummus that I do use is oil-free. I do tend to make my own hummus also, but if you're busy and you would prefer finding something that's a healthier version, there are ones that are actually oil-free. The other thing I do use, you can use fire-roasted corn. I use regular frozen corn. It just depends on how spicy you like things. I don't like it as spicy. I like it more tasty. So we're starting by combining hummus with chipotle powder. Half a teaspoon you can start with. You can always add more to your own liking. Simple. You don't have to have anything special to cook. This is the point. People think they have to have all the latest gadgets. Just be careful, okay, because some of these spices still have salt in them. They're a combination. It's a mixture. And so you might be adding more salt than you actually expect, which if you have high blood pressure, that is not a good thing. So just be forewarned that if you do have a mixture that's already in a container or bottle, that you do monitor the amount of salt that you eat. So the beauty about cooking is that it is a dynamic art. Sometimes you may not like the way it turns out, and then you can always substitute it with other things. Or if you didn't have those ingredients, you could use any colored pepper. People have a variety of what they like. I'm not a fan of green peppers per se. They tend to give me a little bit of heartburn. I don't like the flavor as much. I kind of like the yellow and the orange better. The red's okay for me, but it just depends on your liking. You can choose any color bell pepper you like. You could use any color onion. You could use the purple onion versus the yellow onion. It's not really a big deal. You can use scallions. And the salsa, you can use it as mild or as spicy as you like. You can make your own if you prefer. I get mild because, again, I like things that are tasty, not really spicy. And if you don't have kale, you can also use spinach. You can use cabbage. So there are many different alternatives that you can use if you don't have the ingredients on hand. Next thing you want to do in a large skillet is to heat up onions and the bell peppers. So with the onions, in order for them not to stick to the pan, because I do not use coated Teflon pans at all, I prefer not to. They do tend to give off more chemicals when you're cooking. So I try not to use them if I don't have to. And I use water as a base. I don't use oil. And that's how I saute out my onions. So the onions and the bell peppers are sauteing in the skillet with water. And the next step would be to make the filling. So I'm adding the chipotle powder to the garlic powder and ground cumin. See all these beautiful colors. Mix it together with some salt and pepper. Okay, again, like I said, just monitor the amount of salt you have. You put that into the onions and bell peppers that are sauteing on the stove. So I've added the cumin, garlic, chili powder, salt and pepper to the sauteed onions and bell peppers, which smell fantastic. The next I'm going to add the kale and corn to it. Also, the black beans. Make sure that when you do the black beans, if you're using the canned version, that you rinse it really well because it does have salt in it. Also, beans have a toxic coating to it, so you really do want to rinse it off really well. That also prevents you from getting gas, which people are wondering, well, how can I get beans in my diet and worry about gas? Which is technically a really good question. The other thing you can use is to reconstitute dried beans, which are generally cheaper, and you just soak them in water overnight, and that's how you can reconstitute them. So they're very easy. You just have to prepare for it ahead of time. So in a cooking kale, you're actually getting the best version of the nutrition because it's easily digestible, and more nutritious because your body can actually digest it that way. Cooking is an art form, so it's not just a one type of recipe. Each time you make something, you can have a different, slightly different version of it. It's just a lot of fun to cook. I know how people feel about the cleaning part though, because that's definitely not the best part of the meal. But if you can get a very healthy meal for an inexpensive amount, and then you know exactly what you're making, you feel proud of the accomplishment that you've been able to do on your own versus having somebody else do it for you. So it's great eating out as a treat, but eating out all the time is not very healthy. It's unfortunately a great way of gaining weight because they're putting way more salt in things than you think. Also salads, which things that you would think that would really be healthier for you, however, become so unhealthy when you start looking at the caloric content and what they're actually putting into it. So those things make it more unhealthy than healthy. So you want to let the kale wilt, and if you want to add a little bit more water to keep things from drying out, you can. Yeah, cooking time is not very long, and you can use frozen kale instead of fresh kale. I use frozen corn. You can use fresh corn, but if you're using things that are not in season, then frozen is also, you know, the other best option, and we're very lucky to be able to have that option. So I'm just mixing the hummus with the chipotle powder, and then I'm going to spread it to the corn tortilla, and then add the spread of the sauteed onions, bell peppers, kale, black beans, and onions. And then we're going to just sandwich it together like a quesadilla. So you cook the tortilla until it's lightly brown for about 5 or 6 minutes, depending on your stove. It depends whether you have electric or gas too. So beware that sometimes the gas actually cooks faster than the electric does. And some people say that vice versa. So they're just not used to it, and they do have to watch it so that it doesn't dry out, because you're not using oil, you're just using a quesadilla, a skillet basically. So that's what's going to brown it. And then once it's browned, then you can turn it over and for another minute or two and serve with salsa. So the end result is this beautiful plate like such. And just as a warning, chipotle is quite spicy. So if you're adding it instead of the chili powder, I would recommend the mild chili powder if you don't like too much spicy food. I think it just looks absolutely beautiful and quite tasty. So bon appetit. This is the first of my plant-based series. Thank you.